going back just a second and defining the goal of the commission, one of the issues that you raised in your blog post was this, what's called the non-delegation doctrine. So when you think about what BRAC did, essentially we created a commission and their job was to pick which bases get closed. Whereas here, we're going to appoint a commission and their job is, as you suggest, to stabilize the debt to GDP ratio or to, set some goal. But in order to do that, they're not going to just produce a list of bases to close. They're going to have to essentially change tax law and Social Security and Medicare. And so the question is, the argument is the Constitution gives the legislative authority to Congress, and Congress can delegate that in some cases. But I guess the question here is, is Congress delegating too much of its authority to this commission? And when their commission produces a proposal and it's going to get challenged in court, what are your thoughts about, how specific you have to be in order to avoid the question of the non-delegation doctrine? And do you run a risk that the commission's, their proposal goes into force and somebody challenges it in court? I mean, what's your thought?
Yeah, I've looked into this, and it's well within Congress's discretion to ask for help and to delegate its work to an outside commission. But they have to task that commission with very clear and specific goals. Like Congress cannot just appoint a commission and say, you now take over all of our work. So it has to be more specific than that. And Congress still has to have the final say, which is where with a BRAC-like commission, where the proposals would go into effect by default in Congress without members having to take an up or down vote. The way that you address that issue is by ensuring that members of Congress have sufficient time to reject the proposal, that they still have that ability to reject the proposal, and that way they haven't really delegated that much of their authority. They've asked the commission for help, but they're still in charge of whether the commission proposals actually go into effect. It is not, Congress is not required to use the least discretion to accomplish its mission. So empowering a commission is very much within Congress's discretion, as long as those criteria are met, that the commission has very clear goals that Congress has set. So the commission exists to support Congress in accomplishing a goal that Congress has agreed to, and that Congress retains the ability to reject the commission proposal. They do not have to take an up or down vote. I think another way of looking at this, because I've heard this criticism quite a few times, that isn't this an abdication of Congress's responsibilities? And my response to that is that Congress abdicated its spending responsibilities a long time ago when it put in place programs that would grow on autopilot, without congressional reconsideration, without the requirement for Congress to agree to additional spending. And many of these programs, especially in the case of Medicare and Medicaid, when they were adopted, the estimates that Congress had for what these programs would cost in the long run turned out to be very, very wrong, and in underestimating significantly the implications of putting these programs into place.